all things. The Stanley Cup playoffs continue tonight on ESPN, starting with those Panthers going for the sweep against the Maple Leafs. The puck drops 7 Eastern there, followed by Game 4 between Golden Knights and Oilers. Connor McDavid and Edmonton trying to square that series at 2 apiece. Both games on ESPN and the ESPN app. The baseball, Shohei Ohtani getting the ball in Anaheim, but he got upstaged by his opposite number last night. Angels hosting the Astros. You see the numbers there for Ohtani. Roughed up pretty good by the Astros in his first 4 years. Last year, he got it dialed in against them. Started off strong last night. It's Mauricio Dubon, check swing. Threw a strikeout number 501 to tie Babe Ruth, and then goes past him, taking a yacker off on Jeremy Pena. So 502 Ks for Ohtani, one more than Ruth. Ohtani struck out 7 in 7 innings of work. To the 5th we go. In a spot of bother in this inning, Martin Maldonado, the 9-hitter, batting 175 on the year. But he takes Ohtani for a ride. Ohtani allows 3 earned in 7 innings, tagged with his first loss of the season. Framber Valdez was masterful. Brandon Drury, swing and miss. Big swing. He does with 17 and 6 last year, maybe even better this year. He went that 2 and 12 in 8 innings. There goes Mike Trout. Astros win 3-1 to get back to 500 on the year. As for Ohtani, last 3 starts, again, gets the barrel of the bat on the ball as well. 5 goals. Need to step up in a big way.
Receive a free bracelet valued up to $225 when you shop Pandora this Mother's Day.
OTR Premium Cocktails. You're already making the tacos. Why make the margaritas too? That's cocktail on a whole OTR level.
Stop waiting in line at drive-thrus just to place an order. Use the Domino's app on Apple.
Shit, she turned into a smoothie.
That was my type of shit.
That was filling. Like I wasn't hungry after I ate it. She was like, you'll be all right after you eat this. You might think that this ain't nothing, but I think it was the peanut butter that made it filling.
Yeah. Put that peanut butter, bananas, kale.
Man, yo, first of all, this old lady look. I tried to get some pussy from the old lady. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But what I'm saying to y'all is this. When you see them old motherfuckers that move good and still look good, watch what the fuck they doing.
Right.
Them motherfuckers, like when you see a woman look like she in her 70s, 80s and still look good, that lady know what the fuck she doing.
Yeah.
It ain't just metabolism.
My homegirl Pearl, 91. We still go out. I take her out. Call her right now. Pearl is my girl.
Somebody say,
She drink her wine though.
I had one, but I'm gonna get another.
I got one too. So,
but see, I gotta pay somebody to just come to my house every day and prep the food and make it because I'm rat race mind. My mind is like a rat race.
Like if you had it all
they
prepped,
gotta do it. They gotta do it every day.
They can prepare
every other day.
Yeah.
Prep them for the whole week, and then you can put it. Yeah.
If you want to, can bad fashion kill you, Marcus?
Oh.
No, because you'll be dead.
They say
that's what you feel is value. Everything materialistic, that's value to you. So when you see, well, most people that's raised on. I didn't say everybody did.
No, but
most
you
people
said raised on struggle. Go ahead,
yeah.
I'm listening.
Most people that raised on struggle feel that way. They feel like since there was lack of, so in order to make up for that lack of, that's what they see in other people, and they don't care about character and shit like that. So they'll let them up.
Gypsy woman told my mother just a while before I was born. Say you got a boy child coming. He's gonna be a son of a gun. Gonna make pretty women make them jump and shout. Now the world wants to know me.
People think learning piano takes a really long time, but that's false. Here's how long it really takes with this new method.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let me hear them horns. Come on.
So easy to use, you can manage your diabetes with confidence.
Right back with you. Let's hear from the fellas who shot up the tall scores. Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, 1-2 at MVP voting and still standing tall as we plunge deeper into this postseason. Jokic a triple-double against the Suns last night as Denver takes a 3-2 lead in that series. He's averaging 35 a game in the series, and now he has the Nuggets a game away from the conference finals. Here's Young Masuk with more on this one.
The Phoenix Suns got a full taste of Nikola Jokic on Wednesday. Jokic's night started with a pass to Matt Ishbia, a lighthearted pregame moment that displayed his wit and diffused any lingering tension from Game 4's run-in. Hours later, Jokic picked apart the Suns with his 10th playoff career triple-double, passing Wilt Chamberlain. Jokic had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists, and even found time to draw a technical foul off Kevin Durant while trying to listen into a Suns huddle. After Denver's Game 5 win, Michael Malone noted how savvy his center was, trying to get his $25,000 fine back from Ishbia with his gesture, saying the two-time MVP ain't no dummy. Jokic can have the last laugh on Thursday when he and the Nuggets look to eliminate the Suns in Game 6.
And the 76ers are up 3-2 on the Celtics after winning Game 5 in Boston, 115-103. This time, Joel Embiid was in MVP form, dropping 33 points, adding 4 blocks. Tyrese Maxey chipped in 30. The Sixers now hold that lead, and they're 1-1 away from the conference finals. Here's Brian Windhorst on how they got it done.
Common sense says a 2-2 series, a team that's on the road has to play a great game to get a win. And the 76ers played good in Game 5 and still got the win. Joel Embiid scored 33 points, but that is what his average is, and he shot under 50%. James Harden played an excellent game and scored 17 points, took just 8 shots. That's easily just the third best game he's played in this series. So what really happened is the Boston Celtics did not make their 3-pointers. And it's become apparent that is the key to them winning or losing. They're now 34-2 this season. When they shoot 40% or better from 3, and when they shoot under, as they did in Game 5, 29-28. That's average, and average wasn't good enough against the 76ers, who now get a chance on Thursday at home to go to their first conference final since 2001.
So degrees matter for the Celtics, MVPs matter for the Sixers, and our MVP, ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legman is now with us. All right, so Legs, a week after winning the MVP, Joel Embiid shows out, helps the Sixers steal one on the road. What made his performance so special last night?
Ryan, I just think we were looking at a guy last night who was saying, I will do anything to win. But that's how badly Joel Embiid wanted it last night. And it started early. He got into this nice little rhythm with these short jump shots, and then you see him making plays as well because of the reaction to what he was doing offensively. This guy just defies logic because of his combination of power.
Keeps flaring. Put it in check with Rinvoq, a once daily pill.
When you see got unpredictable, I got rapid symptom relief with Rinvoq and left back emergency behind. Check. When UC got in my way, I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
And when my gastro saw damage,
Rinvoq helps visibly repair the colon lining. Check. Rapid symptom relief. Lasting.
Sensational. Tobias Harris was solid. James Harden controlled the game. They even had an X factor in Daniel House, giving them a nice spurt when they needed it. So I just thought it was a dominant performance on the part of the Sixers. Boston played poorly. They didn't handle the moment well. And Joel Embiid led his team, which is what the MVP is supposed to do.
Embiid at 34 in Game 4 just looked like a different player in this game. Even defensively, those 4 blocks just coming up huge. All right, Legs, don't go anywhere. David's got more for you.
Yeah, we got a couple of potential closeouts tonight in Game 5s. The Heat looking to reach the conference finals for the second straight season. You see in Miami 14-0 and leading a best-of-7 3-1. The Knicks 0-14 when trailing 3-1. In the West, the Lakers seeking to close out the Warriors. LA 39-1 all-time, the best-of-7 were leading 3-1. The Warriors trying to become just the fourth team with multiple 3-1 comebacks in their playoff history. Here's Kendra Andrews.
Stephen Curry and Draymond Green addressed the Warriors after their practice on Tuesday, telling the team what it's like to be down 3-1 in a series and how to come back from it. Klay Thompson also told ESPN they're absolutely calling back to their previous 3-1 deficits, primarily the one against the Thunder in 2016. And heading into today's game, they have the same mindset as they did then. Take it one game at a time and defend home court. The Warriors are confident they can extend their season, pointing to how they had a double-digit lead in the third quarter of Game 5 and gave themselves a chance to win all the way down to the wire. They also looked to their performance in the first quarter and a half of Game 3 and just the pure dominance they had in Game 2. All of that leads them to believe they can very much beat these Lakers. And now, on the brink of elimination, they have no other choice.
All right, so the Warriors saying all the right things, but Legs, as we know, it's not what you say, it's how you play, and so far it has not been good enough from the champs. So what needs to change tonight if they want to extend their season?
David, so much of the narrative is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson all the time with this team, and I'm saying, listen, all hands on deck. They need contributions from everybody. Jordan Poole, who's basically been a non-existent force in this series since Game 1, to see if he can give them something. And Wiggins has been solid. He needs to be better than that in a game like this. Draymond Green needs to be more aggressive offensively. Maybe this is a game Kevon Looney get you 18 to 20 rebounds, and then you have to get those X-factor type guys like Philadelphia got last night with Daniel House playing so well. Tobias Harris. Maybe the Dante DiVincenzo gives you 15 points. Gary Payton gives you something. It's everybody. Clearly Steph Curry, Klay Thompson are going to set the tone, particularly Klay. Right now, the Lakers have been bottled up. He needs to get unleashed. I think it needs to be a focus for Golden State. But I'm not just going to lay this in their lap. Let's get everybody to chip in. That's what we loved about this team over the years. It's the collective. It's not just the stars. Everyone needs to step up and play better, get some momentum, turn this into a 2-game series where you have to win one road game to force a Game 7.
All right, so let's do some predictions. Do you see them winning this game at home tonight at J7?
Listen, it would be disrespectful to a team that has accomplished this much collectively to say they're not winning a home game to extend the series. Golden State, I believe, will win this game and force a Game 6. And then I think, and on the other side, I just think the Heat are better. And I think that the Knicks got a little bit frustrated in the last game, and the Heat can sense that. And one thing about Miami, they are not going to take their foot off the gas. It's just not what they're about. That's not how they're coached. Their details are on point. They're going to continue to make sure they follow the game plan, force guys to their weaknesses, move the basketball, and they've got Jimmy Butler to close the deal.
An 8 seed trying to reach the Final Four in the NBA. Legs getting us straight on all things basketball. And the playoffs continue tomorrow night on ESPN, starting at 7:30 Eastern. Joel Embiid. Sixers trying to eliminate the Celtics, followed by KD, Book, and the Suns, trying to force a Game 7 against Jokic and the Nuggets. Game 6 of that series, NBA Countdown, tips off our coverage tomorrow at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Here we go. The full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow night, but this morning the league has released its list of international games, including some of the big stars in the league. Check this out. It starts October 1st, exclusively on ESPN+. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars hosting the Falcons and their first-round pick, Bijan Robinson, Wembley Stadium. The Jaguars are playing in London for the 10th consecutive season. They're going to stay for an extra week.
Yeah, gonna have a good long trip in London because on October 8th, the Jaguars will become the first team in NFL history to play 2 international games in the same season. They'll be the visiting team when they face Josh Allen and the Bills, the 3-time defending AFC East champs playing overseas for the first time since 2015.
And then the week after, the final game in London, the well-paid Lamar Jackson and the Ravens visiting the Titans October 15th. These teams meeting for the first time since Baltimore upset the Titans in the 2020 AFC wildcard game in Nashville.
Then, the NFL will play 2 games in Frankfurt, Germany, starting November 5th. Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl champion Chiefs, hosting their old buddy, Tyreek Hill, and the Dolphins. The Chiefs will also play in Germany in the 2024 season.
Now, the final international game will be Anthony Richardson and the Colts facing the Patriots in Frankfurt on November 12th. The Patriots also played in Germany last season. All told, the 5 games are the most played in Europe in any NFL season.
Good morning, I'm Mike Greenberg of the Seaport. We're getting set to get up with you coming off a Boston beatdown. Joel Embiid dominates. Are the Celtics done? Could it be the beginning of a Boston breakup? Plus, another sideline shove between the Nuggets and the Suns. Is Denver about to shove KD right out of the playoffs? And don't look now, there's a new favorite to win the whole thing. So this will be the last dance tonight for the Golden State Dynasty. We've got so much to do. And 2 hours to do it. We start top of the hour right here on ESPN.
Today's new compilation Tuesday at 10. Dodgers and Brewers. Let's see what Willie Adonis has for us. Wow. Like that catch. That hops, man. Yeah. Spread eagle, grab, and short left. Brewers lose the game. Nice catch.
Number 9, college baseball, Vanderbilt, Louisville, J.T. Benson. Sprinting. Jumps. Oh, that's got to hurt.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, man. He makes the catch. Great effort. More coming up from this one. Looks like he's okay.
Maybe. Or back. Sixers Celtics. Joel Embiid loses it. Jalen Brown thinks he's got something. MVP coming off. At 4 swats on the night. Sixers get the win. Try to finish up in game 6.
So much hustle. How about this for hustle? White Sox Royals, Bobby Witt Jr. Dives, grabs, what a throw! Let me tell you something, folks. That is not easy. Huge range by Witt Jr. The Royals lose.
At 6 in college baseball, we had Dayton playing Wright State. Top foul, Pat Fultz to the stands. Nice God. Frankly, I think the fan misplayed it. He sort of gave him the old shoulder there. Wright State wins 11-2.
Number 5, Tigers Guardians. Javier Baez. We know all about his D. Watch this. Reach back, one motion, get up, throw, out. Oh my gosh. Miguel Cabrera's gotta love that. Baez known for his D, but he can still get done. But the Tigers lose.
At 4, Real Madrid, Man City. I got a thunderstrike for you off the right boot of Vinicius Jr. That thing had some hair on it. Look out. Game ends a 1-1 draw.
Back to that Vanderbilt Louisville game. Watch this. Pop up, shallow left. Jonathan Bastine nails it. Whoa. With the hair flowing and everything. Oh, that flare. What a catch. Vandy wins.
I think I got you top of it, too. Check
Okay.
this out. House off Austin B. Stetson, Lexi Osowski.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. Lexi Osowski ends like she's 30 feet away in the juggling touchdown line. Yes. Hop around. We got it. Austin B. wins 2-1.
So only this can be number 1. CONCACAF Beach Soccer Championship. Nick Pereira gets the pass. No shoes on bicycle. I mean, that's got to be hard, right? Kicking it up from the sand and nailing it. Okay, now this is why we love sports. You got to see this classic moment. Giants Casey Schmidt called up on Monday. Major League debut last night. Was at the movies, watching Guardians of the Galaxy when he got the call up. Parents in the stand holding a baby, and watch this. Schmidt mashes it, a homer in his MLB debut. Mom and Dad jumping for joy with the baby in hand.
Careful.
Do not drop that baby. After the game, Smith said his parents are going to have the ball. I guess you can trust dad to hold anything. You can hold a baby like that, right?
Yeah. Casey at the bat.
Yeah.
Joy in Montville, after all.
Big.
All right, we're going to ESPN 2. Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning. It is time to get up with Boston on the brink of the 76ers, about to 86 the Celtics after an absolute stunner in Beantown. And with that, be the beginning of the big-time Boston breakup. We'll tell you why much more than one series is at stake here now. Speaking of which, does a dynasty come to an end tonight? Will this be the last dance for an all-time group in San Francisco? Oh, we got a lot to get to, people. We got exactly the right people to do it. Welcome back. Redolla's in the house. Zach Lowe is in the house. Fans way down here after a day spent mulching in Greenwich, Connecticut. Delightful to have you here. Our regulars knocking down threes all day long, and that is exactly what the Sixers were doing last night in Boston. Oh, statement of the night with Tatum and company coming home after a painful loss in Philadelphia with a series tied at 2 games apiece. And plays from the very outset, Joel Embiid was the center.
Yeah, absolutely the difference. The difference, posting the physical dominance, incredible combination of power and finesse. We saw the entire first half.
Now, that was inside. Here he is outside. 11 points in the first quarter, and he was not slowing down. Late in the second quarter, more of the same from Embiid.
Yeah, right here, late clock, catches it. Not a lot of resistance, but goes to the lead back from 18.
Yeah, 21 in the first half. Sixers up double digits. And a 12-point lead, and here's more Joel in the third quarter. They're pulling away, and he's doing it on both ends of the floor. How about the defense?
This is, to me, where he made the biggest statement. He was basically saying to his team, I will do anything to win this game. And he got an X-Factor contribution, by the way, out of Daniel House.
Yes.
Great minutes for them.
He took it to the house right there. And then as Maxey gets it going here, listen to the Celtic fans. They're getting booed out the building, and frankly, they deserved it. Now down 14, looking for a spark. Jason Tatum, it's an 11-point game. He would score 36. But with every question, the Sixers had an answer.
Always moving the basketball and over rotation. The house, great kickout. Maxey showed up in a big way for Embiid as well.
He had 30 points. Sixers by 14. Embiid would score 33. The pick and pop there, and then one final exclamation point on the defensive end.
Yeah, he was twice on this. He runs first full speed, then slows down, but doesn't even get there, and then picks it up again to get that block from behind.
Sixers by a dozen. They're up 3 games to 2. Hey, Joel, you're on the doorstep.
I don't care. I honestly don't care. We still gotta get one more win, and then obviously you go home, so you're gonna have a lot of energy, the crowd. And I would imagine everybody plays better at home too. So I do play better at home.
We got booed before, so it's not anything new. We're gonna play well today. Fans can see it. You guys saw it, and you know that.
All right, so there's a lot to unpack here. When we start with the Philly side of it, you're probably already aware they haven't been to the conference final since 2001. That was the Iverson team that lost to Shaq and Kobe in the final. This is the 4th time they've been a win away from getting out of round 2. They've never had 2 chances to crack it, and now they do. So let's dive into that end of it. There's really probably more to be said about Boston this morning. But, Legler, you made an interesting point to me before we came on, that this feels like the first time in this iteration of the Sixers that they've had everything together when they needed, the time of year that they needed the most.
Well, think about it in terms of what Joel Embiid has. And some of this is on him, but look at all the years in the postseason. Either he's been banged up, a star didn't show up in a significant way, they did not get an X-Factor contribution. All of that stuff's happening. He's physically right. His co-star is playing great in James Harden. They're getting the X-Factor stuff out of Maxey, Tobias Harris last night, Daniel House. And it just feels, and guys are showing up when they need to for him. So if you really look at it, you go year by year, it was always one of those issues with this team. They're not facing that right now. And it also doesn't hurt that the Boston Celtics are not the same team that they were the first 2 months of the season. And the Milwaukee Bucks are already sitting home watching. So there's a lot of things working well for Philadelphia. Having said all of that, The air will be heavy in Wells Fargo in Game 6 if the Celtics can stay within striking distance. We know how that feels and the pressure starts to kick in, but it just feels like right now Philadelphia's on a different level than Boston.
Is it finally his time? We've been waiting for Embiid to have his time. Does it finally feel like his time?
We've been waiting for a dominant Joel Embiid playoff run, which has been derailed over and over again by weird injuries, as Lane just said. Last night was an utterly dominant performance on both ends of the floor. The Celtics are terrified of going and Embiid at the basket. It's a complete no-fly zone, and on offense, he just picked them apart and picked them apart on the Harden Embiid pick and roll until they switched their entire defense to try to switch that play. They put Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon on Joel Embiid because they had no answer for that play right there over and over again. Is it his time? Look, like you just said, this team, they got some demons. They better win Game 6 because I don't know if they want to go back to Game 7 and Boston. That wouldn't count out the Celtics. But last night, we're going to talk about the Celtics later and all their problems and all this. Philly went into Boston and took that game. They won that game. That was a Philly win.
How about the NBA of it all here?
Unbelievable. It's a perception-altering victory from the Sixers. This is what we've been waiting for because nobody was ever quite sure if they could do it on the road. If Embiid could play the way he did, if Maxey could hit from the outside the way he did, Harden orchestrating the offense, and then you get all these other contributions. But Green, what really throws me on top of the Sixers part of this is you have a Celtics team that is essentially the same as they were last season. Yeah. And the focus that was there last year under Ime Udoka is not there right now the same way under Joe Mazzulla. They went through the motions in Game 1. They went through the motions in Game 4, got it back at the end, and then made several mistakes late. And in a big game at home, they were never really in that game. So Philly deserves a ton of credit for doing exactly what they need to do. But if they want to change it all the way, they got to win games.
Well, so that then perfectly segues us to where we wanted to be. It is Philly who has played the role in recent years of looking like less than the sum of their parts. Suddenly, it's Boston doing that. A team that was 2 wins away from a championship a year ago, and as you pointed out, at the beginning of this season, looked like by far the best team in the NBA. Suddenly just look lost. What is wrong with the Celtics?
Yeah, about mid-season, I said the Eastern Conference was going to be decided at the three-point line because that's how Boston and Milwaukee end you, right? They hit you with a barrage of shooting, and they do it in a different way than we're seeing now. The Boston at their best is a whole bunch of get in the gap, dribble drive, get downhill, force somebody to come help, kick out, and get multiple dribble drive kickouts and make you chase the basketball and you don't catch up to it. They've got more high-level spot three-point shooters than anybody in the league, probably, other than maybe Milwaukee. They're not playing that way now. The ball's sticking. I don't like their body language. They don't handle adversity well within the course of games. To your guys' point, I thought last night, we've seen bigger blowouts in this postseason. That was the most dominant performance I have seen because Boston did kind of keep fighting. When we see these games that are 30, 40-point games, at some point, teams are waving the white flag, and you can just tell they're thinking about the next game already. Boston wasn't, because they knew how important that game was. So to continue to just never allow them in a home game to have any substantial run of any kind is something that I just can't recall happening to a really good team at home in a big spot. They just never had any momentum.
Since Game 2 of the Hawks series, the Celtics have allowed 117 points per 100 possessions. That would rank last in the regular season. They are an inconsistent team with inconsistent focus on both ends of the floor, and this is just who they are. This is who they were last year. Milwaukee without Chris Middleton took them to 7. Miami, a team wheezing and injured, was a Jimmy Butler shot away from an all-time collapse for Boston in Game 7 of that series. And they just haven't been the same team since those first games in the Atlanta series. Nick mentioned Game 1, when they lost without Embiid, and Game 4, when they had that game and let it go. If they lose this series, those are all-time look back and say, how did that happen to us moment?
Well, the other thing that Nick mentioned is the one obvious change here is that Ime Udoka was the coach then, and Joe Mazzulla is the coach now, and he is the youngest coach in the NBA, and that doesn't mean he isn't excellent. He's done a lot of really good things. There were multiple moments in time over the course of the season that we were singing his praises. But to what degree do we think he is And what portion of the blame are we assigning to him?
He's got to have a lot. We know what this team can do when they're right and they are focused. They're not right now. Missoula just hasn't been through this. There have been moments in this series, there have been moments in that Atlanta series where you go, why not take a timeout? Why not make a move to regroup everybody? And it hasn't been there. And that's why you look at a guy like Doc, that team never panicked. The Sixers didn't last night. They knew what they needed to do. They hit the big shot when they needed it. But Missoula is going through a learning curve right now that I don't think anybody could have expected with the way they performed throughout most of the regular season.
Well, and it brings up the question that I raised in the open of the show. And Zach, I'll start this with you. Could we be seeing more than just the end of a series here? All right, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, for the longest time, these two stars, the feeling was they really didn't fit together. Maybe they didn't want to be together, and it wasn't going to last forever. And then they made a somewhat startling second-half surge last year that led them all the way to the finals, and then now it's changed. All of a sudden, I feel like it's drifting back in the opposite direction. If they get somewhat summarily and ignominiously bounced out in the second round here, could we be seeing the end of Jaylen Brown in a Boston uniform?
Well, look, 4 days ago, people were saying, hey, remember those idiots who said we should wake up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum? Aren't they idiots? And now we're back to answering the same question. So we sort of ride this roller coaster back and forth with these two. But look, here's what's happening tonight. The All-NBA teams come out tonight at 7 o'clock. If Jaylen Brown is on one of those teams, and I think he will be, he'll be eligible for a gigantic Supermax extension that, of course, like any player, he's going to want. And right away, then, it becomes decision time for Boston. And whether they want to stay together or not, and they have poo-pooed that from start to finish, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum said it's all noise, it's all noise, it's all noise. Whether it's noise or not, and I think it's probably noise, there comes a time when as a team, you hit the wall and hit the wall and hit the wall over and over again. And when the money is what it is, and when the new CBA is what it is with all the restrictions, it just comes a time where you have to make decisions, and that's going to be a decision, and I don't think it's out of bounds to ask that question.
Well, the bottom line of it is, all the money aside, all of the personal feelings aside, if Jaylen Brown is a person who still remains a little put off by his name being involved in the Kevin Durant trade talks, clearly this is Jason Tatum's team first and foremost, as well he should be. Brown's a terrific player, but Tatum is probably next level. In your opinion, do you think we would be seeing the end of this duo if they get knocked out tomorrow night?
It's possible. To your point, it's interesting what happens with these all-league teams. Remember when Paul George was in Indiana, and it's like if you make one of those teams, the money can make up your mind for you.
Right.
If you don't, it's almost then it opens up doors and you want to be somewhere else. And I think that's what happened with Paul George in Indiana. He ends up in Oklahoma City. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. They don't look like a happy group right now. Obviously, winning makes you happy, but just the way they're playing on the floor, they just don't look like a super connected group or a team that's going to be in the fight to the end. Let's see how they respond before we write them off. Because look, if anybody that doesn't think they're capable of winning one game in Philadelphia, you're silly for thinking that. Okay, this team can absolutely rise to the occasion and get that one and force this thing back on their home court.
Remember Game 6 in Milwaukee last year when they saved their season?
Tatum played out of his mind in that game. They stayed alive and they came home and won it in 7. We'll see if they can do it in this case as well. In the meantime, when we woke up yesterday, the Celtics were the favorites to win the NBA championship. No longer the case. The Nuggets and the Lakers are now the co-favorites to win the NBA championship. The Lakers, I'll remind you, were 14-1 before the playoffs started. They're now plus 300. And on the other side of the ledger, or just below them in the Eastern Conference, the Sixers are now the favorites to come out of the East. We'll talk about the Lakers as this hour continues. LeBron and LA rolling into San Francisco for Game 5. It's tonight the last dance for the Golden State Dynasty. What should LeBron and company sit this song out? Laker will yell at me again. Plus, are the Nuggets about to shove the Suns out of the playoffs? Would that be Kevin Durant's failure? We'll answer those questions. If we roll along, I'll be getting up with you on ESPN.
Dove Men invited dermatologists to test new advanced hair body washes that start solving skin issues in the shower.
It's a very great way to control your breakouts. For my clients with dry skin, I would absolutely recommend this product.
New Dove Men advanced hair body washes.
Summer's here, and with the new Toyota, you can go out and do all the things that make summer, summer. Like getting ice cream, movie nights,
I'll give you that.
hiking with the besties, catching sunsets, or just playing catch.
Go on.
Did you know that every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care? A 2-year or 25,000-mile maintenance plan and roadside assistance. That's the value you can expect from Toyota.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Wendy's Strawberry Frosty is back for the summer, so Tyler's been spending a lot of Frosty time outside.
Ooh. What?
Bro, you look like a strawberry.
It'll even out. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Now we're going.
Introducing Acipro Allergy. Now available without a prescription. Acipro is the first and only 24-hour steroid-free spray. While Flonase takes hours, Acipro starts working in 30 minutes. So you can Acipro and go.
Let me see how premium cocktails. You're already making the tacos. Why make margaritas too? That's cocktail on a whole OTR level.
Ever wonder, why was I born with 2 hands? Because you were born to try Arby's Bourbon Barbecue Sliders. 2 at a time for just $4. The body just loves barbecue sandwiches. Arby's, we have the meat.
My store, my design business, works exploding, but my old internet is not letting me run the show. So we switched to Verizon Business Internet. They have business-grade internet nationwide.
Make the switch. It's your business. It's your Verizon.
It's Macy's Mother's Day sale now. Get great gifts for every mom with an extra 25% off. Plus shop specials and discover even more show help with Macy's Gift Finder. When Kayla got accepted to Virginia School, we went with Ernest for her student loans. Ernest walked us through the entire process. We could see all of our loan options before we signed. It was nice to have an application that I could do in 15 minutes. I was able to pick out my rates, payment options, and adjust my loan all before I signed.
You're all set.
Okay, great. We built her dream together, and it's coming true thanks to Ernest. Ernest works harder to make student loans easy. Visit earnest.com/bill to get started today.
What do we always say, son? Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance. That's my boy.
Stay off the freeways.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Place like Westinghouse, there's just a lot of opportunity for kids to go down the wrong area. I have no idea where I would be or my kids would be without football.
Coach is like just a rock through. We preaching our future every day.
The impact that he has on Taylor makes me want to be a better mom.
He's going to show my senior how successful young man. Because I own around for you. Because they, when I let them, I want to be where I'm at. There's power in the process. The determination and the discipline you build around it. As you try to break through, exceed expectations, and push forward.
We are people of hope.
The transformation, overcoming the path, the process leads us to this point. The playoffs, second night, where every possession and choice matters. Because the moment goes by in a flash.
Back on Get Up, we are brought to you by Ernest. We work harder to make student loans easier. Nuggets and Suns won Game 5 last night in Denver, and before the action began. Oh, well, between Nikola Jokic and Matt Ishbia after the incident of the other night. Meanwhile, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant have enough to carry Phoenix to a third straight win. Durant doing everything he could legs in the first half. Did not do much with that. 6 of 11 get to a spot, rides on lean back. KD at 10 in the first quarter. Meanwhile, Devin Booker 19 in the first half. But Jamal Murray was finding Nikola Jokic, and Jokic was finding Durant.
That two-man game is too much. They have too many options every time they run it, what they can get. That's not Jokic takes a three-pointer.
Third quarter, we got Aaron Gordon finding Jokic was cutting, and the Nuggets take an 8-point lead. It was more Jokic. He had 17 in the third.
Yeah, again, right here, Murray gets downhill, draws three, no way Aiden can protect him, and gets back out to cover Jokic.
For one possession later, they're going to find Michael Porter Jr. in the corner for three. It's a 16-point lead. And Russell Wilson and Sean Payton watching courtside, and they love it. Meanwhile, we got a little tension here. Tell me we don't have shoving on the sideline between these two teams. Again, I want you to watch the flop by Nikola Jokic here, by the way. Like, he's like, Durant comes over, so that's what they're getting into with their boots line. I watch Jokic. Watch this. Wow! You mean to have guys flopping when it gets a little chippy? I mean, just get some guys sitting upright. I mean, he shoved his feet harder than that. But one way or another, double teams assessed to Brown and Durant. Nuggets have a 21-point lead, by the way. That's Jokic. He had a triple-double. He now has more triple-doubles than Wilt Chamberlain. Tops of the all-time list for centers in NBA postseason history, and the Suns are on the brink. Denver, a workmanlike win. It's worth noting that Kevin Durant has averaged 30 points per game in his career when facing elimination, so don't count this team out. Among players who played at least 10 elimination games, the only ones who scored more are LeBron and Michael and Wilt Chamberlain, so KD still got a shot, but at least as of this moment, with the Nuggets sitting up 3-2. Fidel, what's the first thing you said to me this morning?
I was wrong. I believed in the star power of Kevin Durant. I believed that he would make that group better. Guys, they're not good enough. This is not a team that is built for a long postseason run because they're a flawed roster. They dealt all that depth and Bridges and Johnson, and they made those moves to land Durant. Specifically, Ishmael made those moves because the front office knew how important Bridges and Johnson were, but he wanted to make that splash. And Durant is awesome, but this is not a team built for the long haul to win postseason game after postseason game. And as great as he is, Grady, I got to admit, I didn't expect them to be this discombobulated in the big moments. And I don't know where else they turn because there's not another answer, especially without Chris Paul.
It's a trade anyone would have made. I mean, generally speaking, anyone trades for Kevin Durant if you could get Kevin Durant. But to his point, I picked Phoenix to make it to the final before the postseason began. And Chris Paul's injury is what it is. But the reality is, depth is showing itself to matter. They've got the two superstars, but they just don't have the help.
Well, let's chill just a little bit. They haven't lost a home game yet.
Right.
Like, we could be doing this show in 2 days. Like, what an impressive win by Phoenix in Game 6. All the pressure's on Denver in Game 7. They haven't lost a home game. Chris Paul's injured. Like, it doesn't look good, and last night was a bad loss. And yes, Denver is not the favorite to win the series, but we do this every day where you overreact to what just happened. The reality is they have a home game to get to a winner-take-all game at altitude against a team that's traded at home. But yeah, look, we don't know the price of the trade. The price of the trade was depth, future picks, and the risk of the trade was there's Paul gets hurt in the postseason every year. This isn't a surprise that he's hurt. This is what happens every season. And the other, I mean, they're not winning Game 6 or Game 7 or any other games if DeAndre Ayton doesn't show up and play a bigger than he's playing right now on both ends of the floor, because they need somebody other than those two. And, like, by default, it's going to have to be him at some point.
No, it does not look to me. Watching the series, I don't have any reason to believe it's going to be him at any point. And Nikola Jokic is completely and thoroughly dominated.
He doesn't want any piece of it. And it's more than just Jokic is so great, I don't want to guard this guy. The other component for a center is this guy touches the ball every time down the floor. I touch it every 8th trip. It's demoralizing for DeAndre Ayton, too. I said from the beginning, I also believe they could get to the finals. When they got Kevin Durant, I said, this will not work unless you figure out a way to utilize DeAndre Ayton because of all of the attention that's going to be paid to these perimeter players. There's all kinds of room in the middle. Look at how many times he goes up and down the floor without touching the ball. Now, listen, that doesn't mean you can't still go get 15 rebounds, right, and rim run and protect and all those things. DeAndre Ayton maybe isn't that guy to do that when he's not included, okay? So his body language isn't great. He definitely doesn't want to tangle with Nikola Jokic. Look, I kind of agree with him from this standpoint. I think we're going to get to Game 7 in this series. And you've got Kevin Durant on your team. And one of the reasons I thought Phoenix could make a run is he didn't think Chris Paul would be there. I can't go in and say, well, okay, let's say Chris Paul in the equation. Let's see if these two guys can do it. No, Chris Paul was on the team when he was healthy. Right. And he got hurt again. Right. What a difference, though, he makes as another guy that you can run him offense to and get whatever he wants on ball screen for a mid-range jump shot at a key time. Right? And just organize your team. So it's not one tough shot after another every trip. So there are some things factoring in here. Having said all that, I think we're going to get Game 7.
You think we're going to get Game 7?
I do. I don't feel great about it, but I would bet a little bit on it.
Well, you convinced me to write them off this morning, and now these guys are convincing me not to. So which way are we falling? Are you falling for their trap too?
No. I mean, Denver's just a little bit better with Jokic, and they're a little bit deeper. I don't think that changes even if we get a Game 7. Greeny, the Suns have a lot of work to do. It's not just Ayton. Do we trust that Chris Paul, he's a stabilizing force on the floor, but do we trust him to make that big of a difference?
It's a game for the matter 7 because leaving the door open. You're leaving the door open.
No. Denver's got this. I think they really do.
We will see. Denver right now, they're the favorite, as we showed you a moment ago, alongside the Lakers to win the NBA championship game on the NHL playoffs. We have more going on. They'll be on ESPN first at 7 Eastern tonight. Maple Leafs trying to save their season against Florida. Then the Golden Knights and Oilers play their game 4 pregame coverage. The morning 6 Eastern on ESPN2. The road to the cup rolls on. Coming up more on a Boston beatdown. Joel Tuesday. Celtics on the point. Are they done? Because the Sixers win it all. They will be here. Plus, with the Warriors dynasty on the line, Draymond has a lot to say about all his teammates, except for one. You're not going to want to miss this. It's Get Up on ESPN.
This electric feels different because it's powered by the most potent source of energy there is. This is the Lexus variety of electrification. Inspired by, created for, and powered by you. If you work, if you enjoy it, follow Porsche.
Yeah, flamethrower. Flamethrower? What's that fast?
Your chicken nuggets from KFC? Everybody's gonna want these.
Let's eat these inside. Grab your nuggets. You've never had nuggets like these.
Taste is not an option. Taste is everything. 1800, the world's most awarded tequila.
I bought the team! Yeah? I bought the team! I'll put it on my Chase Freedom Unlimited card, and I'm gonna cash back on a few other things too. Starting with the sound system. Hurry from Pete, that's cash! I prefer the old intro. This is way better! I don't think so! Except one more thing. The team only gets 5 minutes a game. Cash rolls? I like it. I'll break the leg. Cash back like a pro. With Chase Freedom Unlimited, how do you cash back? Chase, make more of what's yours.
The sandwich makers at Jimmy John's bring you the new irresistible decade fudge chocolate brownie. And if you're saying, that's not a sandwich, then what about now? So good, it's here for good. And Jimmy John's.
Rapid rehydration and HDO.
Rapid rehydration is down again.
How do we still know so little about the ocean? Makes no sense.
Ooh, look, she's watching a video box.
How does she still have cable when Hulu plus Live TV has over 85 live channels plus access to Disney Plus and ESPN Plus?
Two-legged folks. That ain't make no sense. Switch to Hulu plus Live TV. It makes sense. Hey, you guys talking about me?
And she directs.
People count on Spectrum to keep them connected to what matters most. Our commitment runs deep, with over 93,000 employees and a network almost 800,000 miles long. Our commitment, it's local too. We live and work in the communities we serve, cheer for the same teams, shop at the same stores, and work hard to deliver the best internet, TV, and mobile services. Because, well, we count on them too. We're Spectrum, connecting the places we all call home.
This mother won't guilt trip you, doesn't expect you to call her back, won't stalk you on social, and doesn't compare you to your siblings. Too bad it's not your mother, but now it can be. The new Mother Cruncher chicken sandwich from Checkers. Crispy, crunchy, all-white meat with our signature squawk sauce and all the mother-loving fixings. For the smoky, sweet bacon barbecue Mother Cruncher, get a better mother. The new Mother Cruncher chicken sandwiches, starting at $3.99. Get Checkers delivered.
It's Game 5 in a series tied 2. On the spread, 3 pieces. This is exactly the start that Philadelphia wanted.
All right, so you know, for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. For as good as the Sixers looked last night, the Celtics looking confused and getting booed off their home floor by their fans, and now a loss away from getting bounced in the second round. Jay Will makes his way over here from KJM on ESPN Radio, and there's a part of me that wants to start there. We'll give the Sixers all the credit that they deserve. Embiid was brilliant last night. We talked about it off the top. But what can you put your finger on what is missing from the Celtics? Because it just feels like there's something that isn't there for a team that we think should be the best in the NBA.
Well, Brady, what do we like about the Golden State Lakers series, right? You're seeing a bunch of counter moves by head coaches. You're saying, hey, it's not Vanderbilt on Stephen Curry. We're playing Vanderbilt on Draymond Green, the switch of Austin Reeves. You see move after move. I haven't seen a lot of counters like Joe Mazzulla here. I saw it late in the game where they put Marcus Smart on Joel Embiid, and then they had Al Horford play off PJ Tucker on the weak side. But I haven't seen a lot of adjustments. And frankly, I'm just going to tell you what I feel. I've not heard this from players. Yeah. But I feel like there is Phil Mazzulla losing a little bit of locker room here with their lack of belief in him. And you're hearing that's Marcus Smart talking about after game 2, and their offense has a bunch of randomness. If you're hearing Jason Tatum even talk about how much he likes Ime Udoka, saying, out of all my coaches, including Coach K, by the way, he was the best I've ever had. So I think you're seeing that feeling out process in real time with Joe Mazzulla, frankly, in this game. It's real. It's real.
I agree. You know, I feel like we're all trying to figure out how much of this to assign there. In the NBA, I think to the average fan, it's not always as obvious as it might be like in a sport like football, where you see one team getting dominated strategically, because so much is happening at one time and so quickly in the NBA. Does it feel like there is a significant advantage, and experience and otherwise, for the Sixers in coaching in this area?
It does to me right now. Even last night, during the broadcast, there was a sideline report. They're coming out of the timeout. They said, what's going on in the huddle? Like, there were 5 guys yelling at the same time about coverages. I said, you got to kid me. That's a bad sign when that's happening. You might get one voice or 2 guys kind of talk through something. You don't get that kind of chaos in a huddle. Think about it. Game 1, they don't have Joel Embiid. Harden dropped 47. They never really made an adjustment to guarding him the entire game. He picked out who he wanted, and he got Al Horford most of the time in ball screen, and he won the game that way. Then you have, they bounce back, they respond. But now here you get a critical game at home, and you come out, and you really don't look like the same team offensively that you saw at the beginning of the year when they're at their best. They really didn't run a lot. They did not make it difficult for Philadelphia to guard them. And again, as great as Embiid was last night, if you break down what he did offensively, and we'll do some of it later, he was taking a lot of practice shots, basically mid-range 15-footers with a guy giving him 6 feet of space. He wasn't feeling anything coming at him where he had to make different decisions. It was just attack. This is what you're going to give me? Okay, I'll be patient. I'll take my time and get what I want. So, yes, I do think that coaching has played into this. To his point, it doesn't look like a team that doesn't feel that confident right now that they're getting the answers that they need in the moment to try to deal with this situation and stop a run, make a run. You don't feel that way. You feel flat at home, particularly.
Is this finally Joel's time? The legs brought up at the beginning of the show. Every year, something else goes wrong. Either he is hurt, or Ben Simmons isn't whatever he isn't, or James Harden, or whatever. There's always been something that has silent. The one miracle shot by Kawhi Leonard knocked him out one year. Is it finally looking like it's Joel's time?
It is. I mean, I can't discount Boston. They were in the same situation last year when they beat Milwaukee.
Yeah,
right. Let's say they go on the road for a pivotal game 5, and they didn't
Game 6. That's exactly what this was. They went to Milwaukee and they won a Game 6 that Jason Tatum played huge.
Exactly. But I will say this: as much as we talk about Joel Embiid or we'll talk about James Harden, I have to give him his praise. The unsung hero on this team is PJ Tucker. Right? Because we talk about, if we may see Miami Heat and Philadelphia play, the toughness of Philly was with Jimmy Butler. When they lost him, we had a lot of questions around the identity of it. PJ Tucker's a guy that goes up to Joel Embiid, calls him out, holds him accountable. You're not going to see that in the box score, but he's the heart and soul of this team.
Look, we're a long way from getting there, but boy, the money you could have made betting at some point along the line that we would get a Miami-Philly Eastern Conference Final. That's not one most people saw coming. Meanwhile, Jay, let's shoot the Jay, if we can, with Jay Will. What was your number one takeaway from Denver's win last night over Phoenix in that Suns loss?
I'm going to say, I don't think DeAndre Ayton is going to be on this team next year. I don't. I mean, look at Game 5, minus 21. Game 4, minus 13. Game 3, minus 4. Game 2, 0. Game 1, minus 21. The only guy is 35%, 51% shooting from the floor, 47% shooting from the 3. I mean, this guy literally, give me the camera. Just come out. I'm sorry about that. I haven't talked about this already. It's problematic for me. Yeah. Like, I get Kevin Durant, I get D-Book. They're special, right? But if you're watching the game last night, they were going at DeAndre Ayton. He literally got off the bench, walked down to the other end of the bench, and walked away. He is getting his head busted in by Jokic. If you're getting your head beaten multiple times, are you going to look this off? Are you going to look angry? There's no sense of emotion. And the town of Phoenix is waiting for DeAndre Ayton to be in the number one pick and to arrive. I'm sorry for busting the segment, but it's the biggest unkept secret in the NBA as they're talking about it. Because there's no sense of passion from a guy that should be enforcing. There were multiple possessions where Jokic, I know he got hurt last night, but Jokic, a slow-footed Jokic, beat him down the court multiple times, Ray. Let me have it up. At some juncture, DeAndre Ayton needs to be called out here, or he's not bringing to the table for a team that's trying to put everything on the plate to win.
Well, Stephen A. obliterated him over the weekend on NBA Countdown. Lex, you made a similar point to this earlier this morning as well.
I mean, think about it. They paid him, and right now, Monty Williams would rather have John Landale on the floor. And it's not even close how much more confidence he has in what I said earlier, to your point. Not only does he not get ticked off about Jokic just doing what he wants to him, even stuff like ticky-tack fouls. Every player in the NBA does something demonstrative to an official, right? A ticky-tack foul. Every single time DeAndre Ayton gets called for a foul, he just walks in the line and gets right to the foul. Like, there's just no emotion. Like I said, he's not enjoying the game. Right? He's also frustrated because the guy he's going touches the ball every trip multiple times. He gets it about every 8th possession. And he doesn't have the will to fight and beat Clint Capella if that's what it takes. String dive every single time. 15 defensive rebounds. Protect the rim. Even though I'm not touching the ball. It looks like he's lost the will to do it. He wants no part of Jokic. And it's demoralizing the team.
Everybody has
one game green with double digits.
As a huge storyline. No, that's a huge storyline. No, there's no reason to be sorry. If you're passionate about it, that's the point. So we'll see if KD and company can force a Game 7. In the meantime, we're going to see tonight if Golden State can force a Game 6 in their series, or if this iteration, this dynasty, might come to an end tonight. There was something that happened on a podcast yesterday that I think is worth your hearing. Draymond Green was talking about which of his teammates he expects to step up in this big spot tonight, including himself. I want you to listen to this closely and pay particular attention to a name that doesn't get mentioned.
So that's our goal. Clay will play better. I have no doubt in my mind I'll play better. Steph had an incredible game. Expect more of the same or even more from him. And everybody else will play great. Moses Moody's been giving us great minutes. Dante gave us some good minutes last night. GP gave great minutes. Loon's in there. He's giving great minutes. Wiggs was impressive. Like, listen, I'm living with it. And we just didn't make the plays we needed to make down the stretch to win the game.
Yesterday we had a conversation about what's going on with Jordan Poole. He had an over in the game. You can't help but notice that he's the one name that does get mentioned there.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost as if you say, wow, they've given up that they're going to get a contribution from Jordan Poole. This is a guy that averaged 20 points a game for them. He's also the only other guy they have that you could put in ball screen offense and go create something. He's the closest replica to Curry when he's not on the floor. That they have, and he has been a complete non-factor since game one. You and I talked about, you actually raised this, I thought it was such a great point. To what extent has he been affected by the backlash that he got at the end of game one with the decision to take that shot? And you can debate whether you think that was a good shot or not all day long. That's not the point. The point is the fallout from it, regardless, was universally pretty much condemnation for that decision.
Yeah.
And for a young player now that you desperately need to continue to play better, even if your teammates support you, Kerr supports you, all publicly saying the right things, the vibe in the locker room feels different to Jordan Poole from that point on. And there's been other issues with him along the way as well. So now, does he feel almost like an outcast or separated from the team in some way where he can't mentally go get himself right to do what he needs to do? They desperately need his offense, but they're not mentioning him. Maybe that is. They've given up that they're not going to get that contribution.
But AJ, I don't see him as part of this core. And, you know, the thing you love about Steph's teams is that they've been egoless, right? And it all starts up top. And you're seeing a guy who got paid this offseason